If you're a man, you don't cry about it. You take life, the ups and downs. If you're a real man, you never go down, you just stay up. That's why this sport coat costs $800 and that costs $200. And I don't know what that costs, I'd be ashamed to wear it. That's why I'm wearing lizard shoes and a Rolex watch.
Importing it, snorting it, any competition extorting it, anything I want affording it, got enough crack to get four to hit, turn a saint to a sinner, lose to a winner, whether old school or upbeat, getting my shit's the best, Rick's the best, have your heart beating right out your chest, that Ric Flair like, woo! That Ric Flair like, woo! This is all I do, I got that Ric Flair like, woo! Woo! Styling, profiling, that Ricky make a girl go, woo! Big cause.
That's correct. Welcome, Lee Fernandez. You're in a cockpit, a space station cockpit.
Yes, I think we should all get our own cockpits. Rockets are flying, nuclear nuclear power plants or whatever are being destroyed by the U.S. military for some reason.
For some
Don't know
reason,
why.
The argument is okay. Well, let's. So, Trump, the leader of, as the Americans like to call it, the free world, but the leader of America, the American president, has bombed a other nation, Iran. The argument being that those nuclear sites were not just providing power to the country, but they were like prepping to be like, hey, we're gonna have nuclear missiles and we hate people, so we're gonna kill people.
Any day now.
Any day now. It was, which apparently it's been any day now for like 10 years.
Yeah. It's perfect timing right now. We've been holding off a little bit too long on this. We always, next week we'll get to the nuclear weapons program.
Yeah.
And then, now that Israel fucking pulled their dick out, oh, now they're suddenly using these 3 facilities to scramble together some fucking warhead. For what? Like, you're already in the fight, so now you're not gonna just start developing a bomb like right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and aren't they known to not have
Well, so
like,
okay,
weapons at all?
that's the debate. Is there's the people who go, they're known to not have. They don't have. Stop saying they have. They don't have. And then there's the other people on the other side, and it's your decision who you believe. The other people on the other side go, yeah, they don't have. I get it.
No,
they have.
No, you're right. You're right. But because we like basically, who knows what the truth is?
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
If Iran was smart, they would have a nuclear bomb, or if they're smart. I mean, because look who you're surrounded by. Everybody on our side of the world is calling like, the fucking area is just death and destruction and disaster. And it's like, so Israel hates them because they're Muslims, and the U.S. hates them because of 9/11, which Israel committed. So they're basically 2 giant bullies, it would seem.
Wait, what? Who committed?
Israel.
No, they didn't.
Israel committed 9/11. Yeah, dude. No, I've known about this since high school.
That is not true, and I 100% don't believe it. And I've always been of this theory. Even if they did commit it, if I'm like, okay, let's say you killed my brother, which is the tower, the 9/11, but you killed let's say somebody killed my brother, and I think it's you, but really somebody else killed my brother, and
some Jew, yeah.
Sure, whatever.
And as an evil Jew.
Okay. I don't agree with the evil Jew, but I'll let's say it's possible, right? Somebody else killed my brother, right? But when I'm trying to investigate who killed my brother, you go, by the way, it was awesome that your brother was killed, and that's what you get. You deserve to have your brother killed. I go, I'm going to kill you now. And maybe you weren't the one who killed my brother, but they did celebrate pretty hard when 9/11 happened. So it's like, that's why I don't believe it.
Maybe your brother's a huge cocksucker. How about that? He's a big fucking asshole who deserved to get killed. And me saying it doesn't
No, this
eat
is
a
more
sh
akin. No, no, this is
yeah.
more akin. If we're going with this analogy, it's not my because it's the Twin Towers, and there were a lot of innocent people. It's not that my
Yeah.
brother was a huge cocksucker.
There's a
It's
lot of
that
brothers that
no, it's that
got killed out there.
I'm a huge cocksucker, and you killed my brother to teach me a lesson. And then I
Yeah.
go, well, and that's why I don't. It's definitely it wasn't Israel. It
It
was.
was Israel. There's a lot of documentation on it. There's a lot
There's
of
no documentation on it, and I
you
know that for a
ever hear
fact.
about the dancing Israelis? Yeah.
They
Well, they
don't know how
thought
to
they were
dance.
Italians at first. Yeah, exactly. That's why it was suspicious. And it was right after that the towers were bombed. There's like what 6 or 7 of these guys dancing around like celebrating, and this woman was watching it. She got suspicious of it. She's like, "Why are these guys like happy about it?" So she called the cops on them. And there's a lot of like ties to the Israel government with regards to these individuals. They were held for a long period of time until Israel ordered them to not to be sent back. There's that. There's like a whole bunch of Jewish connections with regards to what it
This
meant
is
to bring these towers down, to invade the Middle East, to go after Saddam Hussein because that's Israel's enemy. So it's a false flag operation. Essentially, was 9/11 committed
okay.
by the
Again,
American mob and the
again,
Israeli
if even if it,
demon worshippers.
yeah, oh, even
Yeah,
if it is true, even if that's true, right?
yeah.
This is where you people lose me. Those countries you're talking about, it is known that they harbor ill will to the countries that you wish to live in.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying I don't
It
believe
doesn't
in
surprise
war.
me, but our country too like harbors ill will towards other nations for reasons that were just told to us. Like every
Yeah.
country hates
So
some
then
country, so it's just
what's
like, eh.
so then what's the problem?
Well,
What's the problem with
the problem is that I just want everybody to know that Israel committed 9/11.
that's a lie. It's
That's all.
and this is why I think people want for some reason people want them to think. I think
No, it would be a lot cooler, and I would much prefer to think that Muslims did it. I think that they look evil. So for my brain just to go, hey, yeah, that makes sense. I want to just blame Iran and blame Iraq and hate all these gross Muslim people. Like I could go like that, but it doesn't make sense
why
for
not?
them to want. They could want to do that. They could talk shit, but really, the main culprit in all of this. Okay, so why does Israel get to have nuclear weapons when it's the size of apparently what Jersey in the U.S. and they have all these fucking warheads and everyone else is not allowed to have this shit? Why? Because they're fucking Jewish? I don't get it.
No, that's
Fuck
not
these
why.
people at the same time.
It's
No, why do they get to have warheads? Why? Nobody should.
because the first of all, it's not known that they have one. It is they do have. It's
They
just
do.
they lie and they say they don't
They lie about
and when
everything.
no, but you're being dumb. This is why you're being dumb. Is why do they get to? Because you have to look, and this is fun. You blame like
They've
people
gotten to
blame
you saying
Israel and stuff. The original countries who were rich and powerful and still are, meaning the U.S., the U.K., France, all this stuff they're the first ones who had nuclear weapons. So they decide, and this is I agree with this being bullshit about other countries wanting nuclear weapons. I don't think anyone should have because I do think they're like it's a bad
Yeah.
thing to have created. But if you're first to have nuclear weapons, that you then get to decide from then on who gets to have nuclear weapons, and that's what's going on. So why do people let Israel slide on it? Because Israel goes, "Hey, I'm one of your buddies, right?" And we go, "Yeah." But then when another country who says, "Nah, I don't like you people, so I want my own nuclear weapons," the US and Canada to a certain extent, we do it too, and the UK, we go, "No, you don't get to have that because
Mhm.
we don't want you to have that."
You
So
know what? I take it
it's all
all.
about bending the knee to us.
I take it back. I take it back. I think Jews are the only people that do deserve to have a
No,
nuclear
no, no,
weapon.
that's not what
Why?
I said.
Because the guy, no,
You
I'm
take it back.
changing what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Because the guy who developed the atom bomb was a Jew. So that's their shit.
that's true. That's
They get
true.
to
It's
rock that.
everybody
That's
else.
their idea. That's their weapon.
Everybody
They
else
get
who has
the
a nuclear weapon is cultural appropriation. To be
Yeah,
fair,
blacks get do-rags, Jews get nukes. All right.
why do you always have to turn? I you say nothing about you are terrible people.
I mean, it's hard
What do you
to.
guys get?
Okay, what do we get? We get white
Tortillas?
women. No, we get to.
That's not true. That is not true. You're not the leaders in dating white women.
Who do you think is? Other way, Mesh.
Out of yeah, probably black guys. Brown brown guys love a white woman when they come here. They but they're still culturally required to stay within, and so are your people. Your people are way more insular than people think they are. When they come to
Yeah.
North America, they're like, "Oh, I just want to date other Spanish people and stuff like that." That's it's only
Well, we're like, well,
outcasts like you.
for the most part, Latino Spanish people are like friendly brown people, friendly dark skinned people. Like we're what
Yes.
Arabs wish they were. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I don't disagree with that. You're probably not that friendly when someone's like getting stabbed by a Puerto Rican in a club, but that person probably doesn't consider you guys friendly. But everybody else,
I
I
mean, they
do
were
agree.
warned, I'm assuming. Before we do our
They were
segment,
warned.
yeah, you get
Hey.
warned. Yeah. But then,
Um,
the initial, well, I guess the overall victim then he goes like, "Hey, what are you gonna do?" They probably start doing Mexican voices and using the word Mexican to a Puerto Rican. So, yeah, they get stabbed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, look, I do think it's bullshit to tell another country, like if you have nuclear weapons to tell another country you can't have.
Mhm.
But I also do believe there's such a thing as like as much as you can believe in the black ops and the thing of countries that we live in, the West or whatever,
Mhm.
some other countries are led by dictators. And do you want them to have nuclear weapons? If you're, it probably not, you know?
I mean, the way they frame it, the way they paint it, okay, you could go one of two ways. The first way is impossible at this point, which is like nobody gets nuclear weapons. The other option
Yeah.
is everybody gets nuclear weapons. So everybody's got a fucking gun in their belt at some point. Hey, we could all blow up this fucking planet, or we could all just, figure out a solution to work differences out that aren't really that fucking important. Trade with one another, not have why is it that a fucking asshole who's running a country, his personal beef with the leader of another country has to make a fucking difference in the world where people get killed? It's fucking retarded. So I go like, how
Yeah,
about give
but
everybody nukes and everybody acts in line?
but that is how it
Because if one
works.
goes off, then they all go off, and
It
we probably all should get blown up. So
that
that's how I feel about the matter.
well, that is true. The only disagreement I'll give is you're like, well, everyone should have it because it's like guns, everybody has. But we do limit crazy people from we try to from owning guns. And the
Yeah, but
problem
you know what
is
happens to those
when you have a
crazy people that own
dictator,
guns? Other
what
people that aren't crazy with guns go and kill that crazy person and eliminate the threat. You know what I mean? But I mean that guy has to pull out
but
his gun first. That's all I'm
exactly.
saying.
And
I don't not
by
provoke the psycho
by what you
to pull
just
his gun
said,
out.
by what you said, you just agreed with Trump bombing Iran because in his head, he goes,
I
"Yeah,
don't believe it.
I had a bigger gun and I eliminated his
I
gun."
don't believe it. Iran or those fucking assholes over there should have bombed us. How long? While I was still in high school. After nine
Why?
11 how have we not been blown up already? So you mean to tell me this whole time that country's been pretty quiet? I haven't really heard anything. It's all about
No,
Gaza and Israel or
they didn't
Ukraine and
have,
Russia.
they
So
didn't
all of a
have,
sudden Iran is relevant again? Yeah.
oh, they're,
I haven't
no,
heard from these
it's
fucking
not,
guys in so
it's not
long.
all of a sudden. I think you're like, there is like, look, here's my thing is that like, I'm just not down with wholly like hating the people who are on our side and stuff. And look how evil we are. They're doing evil things over there. We all are. That's the truth of every like the leaders in different countries, but it's not just the leaders, the secret leaders, whatever you want to believe. They're fucking mutilating their own people too. We're
Yeah,
all
but I mean,
doing it.
dude, this what you're saying is basically where I'm coming from, where this reaction is coming from. It might sound racist and anti, but I don't give a fuck. To me, what I'm watching is
It
this is
is
what it is. I'm sick of being like, okay,
because
like you're racist. Okay, let's get past that. Let
no,
me
no, no. But
actually
this is my
just
argument: is you're picking out why it's
what's
it's
going on.
racist is you're picking out one people and you're like, oh, and they're the
Yeah,
problem. And it's like,
Israel seems to
no,
be the one that starts all this bullshit.
no, that's not true. That's actually not true. It
They've
is
gotten to
it
you.
just, and
Thank you.
I'm not like mad or anything. I'm like, it's not true. They
That's fine.
they do sometimes, but it's all a game. It's like sometimes it's one side, sometimes it's the other. Iran
Yeah.
starts shit for sure, and it's known they've started shit. Like they're 100% they're secretly behind some of these factions like Hezbollah and stuff, and they mind their business in other. And that's the truth. Is a lot of countries are minding their business in other countries, and the only countries who don't mind their business in other countries is because there's too much shit going on in their country. But if they were to come up, like I'll say this, if Guyana, for example, discovered oil, right? If they in 50 years do things right and become like a superpower and are very successful and it's a very prosperous country, I guarantee they'll start minding other people's business, like trying to fix and do things in other countries. And Iran, I'm not saying they do not deserve to be bombed. They 100% do that in the Middle East. And that Iran is the number one that does do that in other countries in the Middle East. And
And
probably here.
I just feel like I have a pretty good gut instinct on these matters. And
I don't. I think you're just a racist. Your gut instinct
it's racist.
is I'm a piece of shit. So I think piece of shit things.
Yeah.
This
Well,
does lead to. I did want to. No, it doesn't lead to. But I wanted to talk about. We were supposed to talk about this at 5:30 a.m. So I would like to know what happened, and how come we
Yeah.
didn't do our 5:30 a.m. podcast like planned.
I thought about setting my alarm and then said no last second. I went to bed.
That's what I wanted to know. I'll tell you the truth. I did not set my
Yeah.
alarm at all.
Yeah.
Ian would have been 100% by himself. What happened with me? So the background to people, if somebody's listening to this, hopefully one person, is we were talking with Ian about
What's
doing
up,
our next
Prescott?
podcast.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Prescott and my brother who's listening right now. Those two people.
Mhm.
We were planning our next podcast, and we knew it had to be Zoom because you were working in Coburg this week, right? And we decided Sunday, and I wanted to do it earlier in the day, and you're like, no, let's stick to our regular midday thing. But then I forget if it was you or Ian, but I think it was Ian who threw out, let's do it at 5:30 a.m. as a joke, right? But I was
Ian
like,
said that.
I thought it would be hilarious for all three of us to be really tired and do a podcast from 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. and then go to sleep. I just thought
Yeah.
taking the joke even farther than the initial joke is funny.
Yeah.
Right? But I knew in my head, most likely you're not waking up. So
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna I knew I was gonna be mad, but I'm bad at jokes in that I don't follow through. I went to bed at night not remembering this at all and remembering 1:30. So I was not waking up. But and then the next moment in this history is Ian gets home from a barbecue drunk at 2:30 a.m. and writes, "I'm setting my alarm for 5:30. See you guys in the morning."
Why?
Because he's serious.
Yeah, I know. I read that. I was like, that's silly. Like that's a. I mean, because I know like we're gonna switch on and we're all gonna be like miserable,
Yeah.
and then it'll probably last 10 minutes, and then like, what do we do with that? Is that what we put out?
Yeah, that's true. It would have been 10 minutes. It's funny that we're all three of us up at 5:30 a.m. And then after the
Yeah.
funny dissipated, it would have just been like,
Oh, I would have
all right.
hated that. I would have like let's say we did 20 minutes, and then it takes me another hour to probably go back to bed, and then I wake up the next day and it's like 1:30, 2 in the afternoon. Like I just fucking wasted my whole day. I could have been up probably like a little earlier,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
had some nice breakfast.
what happened to me is that I have my apartment or whatever, and we have our AC unit right here. But our bedroom, the AC doesn't 100% reach the bedroom. So at 4:45 in the morning, I woke up like sweating, and I'm like, I gotta cool off. I go into the living room and I look at my phone, and that's when I see Ian's text at,
Yeah.
at 2:30 that he's gonna be up at 5:30. So I decide, fuck it. I just wait till 5:30 and see if he really wakes up. And then him and I just start texting back and forth about what I wanted to talk about. I'll just save it for when he's on. But John Jones' retirement, that he went. And then after like 10 minutes, we're like, well, obviously Lee's not waking up. And we just both went to bed. And I think he's probably sleeping right now, or
It'd be funny if I show up like right after you log. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah. But it
Well,
was
yeah, no, I thought about it. Like right before I went to bed, I was
yeah,
turning
yeah.
everything off in the living room, and I
Should
looked
we
at
do
my phone
this?
like, should I? I'm like, nah, I'm just going to sleep. Fuck off.
Oh,
There's
what
fucking missiles flying all over the sky. I
what
need my sleep.
how do you feel about I know you said this, so this is hack to like say it, but how do you feel about your boy Trump? He was supposed to be anti all this stuff. He's losing a lot. I will say this. This is more the discussion. He's losing a lot of people who liked him from the
Yeah.
like, that Charlie Kirk douche. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
not even saying douche because I dislike what he says all the time, but just because of his face.
Yeah, he has a
Um,
douche
he
face.
has a
A
douche
lot of
face.
these guys
Yeah,
on the right have douche faces.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Tucker
Like that
Carlson.
smarmy, like, hey, come on,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
real. Like I'm
Yeah.
talking in facts and
Oh,
reality.
yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. Yeah, like I like to talk that way too, but you're so douchey when you do it. And when I get too much, I'm super douchey. Like
Yeah,
I think when you people start talking a certain way, I've seen myself
indignant.
morph into a douche. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'm like, that's what it is. It's
I've
it's a douchey topic.
I've watched whole like 10-minute long videos where I agreed with one of these like right wing douches, like 98% I agreed with them. But by the end of the
Yeah,
video, just looking at them for that long, I went, fuck you. And I turned it
yeah,
off.
yeah.
And they said
Yeah,
everything right, but
but they're making your eyes sick. You're just
yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
It's not, it's too much sometimes, and I think it's just the style, the approach.
Yeah, yeah.
Like anytime some people think they know what they're
They're
talking
smart.
about, yeah, yeah, they think they're smart. Like if you're on the far left, it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
like whiny
Yeah,
and
whiny.
like
Yeah.
almost crybaby-ish and like just kind of like that irritating loudness that like a girlfriend or your mom or somebody would fucking your sister would like all females. Basically, it's that naggy way of talking. And then the right is like that, know-it-all douchey. Okay, there, buddy. Sure. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
right. So they both
They both
forms of
have their
arguing
stereotypical
is
shit looks.
gross to just
Yeah, yeah,
listen to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there's no winning, and pick a side. It's just like I'd rather just criticize Israel at this point.
Well, here's the one
And to
positive.
answer your
Yeah.
question,
Oh, about
uh,
him like losing
yeah, yes.
support.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
well, let what he's doing right now makes absolutely no fucking sense. And how he's like wording, how he's putting it out there, what he's doing it's like a scary, doesn't make sense. I think I know what he's trying to say, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't sound good for anybody type of way. So I'm like, this guy is. I don't like how fucking loyal he is to Israel. Like I heard that the other day. He's like, oh, we're cutting off ties with them, and now we're attacking Iran and forcing them to sign a peace deal. It's like they shot at Iran and then say, here, sign this peace deal.
But that
So that's not
that
going to end well.
goes in line with his theory of doing things, which is like weaken your opponent, and then that's when you go into like a negotiation with them. And obviously, now that he's the president, that could mean physical attack. But I meant like even when he was like a businessman, is they want to come in a strong position so that they can take advantage of you, and that's really what he wants in all situations. Is that whole art of the deal thing? That's how he lives his
And
life.
also, one thing to keep an eye on, like let's say Iran does like settle down, or if they do
It
invade, like
does. They calm down. Hey,
let's
ooh,
just say, it'd be
yeah, yeah,
interesting to see if they keep the same regime over there. Because usually, like when the U.S. or Israel gets their way, they change the
yeah.
fucking regime so the Rothschild bankers could go in there and take care of their banking system that they have set up. I think that's pretty much like essentially in deep, deep conspiracy. That's why they're going after these
You know,
Middle Eastern countries because they're not owned by the Rothschilds yet.
so what's funny though is I don't I don't agree with these like secret families controlling things like the Build-A-Bear group or the Build-A-Bear or whatever. Build-A-Bear.
Build
They're
a
making
bank.
bears
They're
throughout the
at the
world.
top of the pyramid. Oh, there's so much blood on their hands.
Yeah, yeah,
All the
but like the
bear people.
Rothschilds, what's that other
Yeah.
family? I forget. There's the other
There's
big
the
family.
Rockefellers.
Rockefellers. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but this is a weird thought I had. I watched this show. It's called oh fuck, what's it called? It was an old show. It's about a hotel that's run in Miami, but it's set at the time of the Cuban Revolution because they're showing that there's these big connections with Havana and everything that's going on there and everything. Here's a funny thing about like this whole evil capitalism that's going into these countries and bankers and stuff. They're terrible, and I do agree with a Bernie Sanders outlook somewhat, in terms of like controlling them and stopping them and stuff like that. But also, when they run a country, there is a lot of good happening in that country. So it's like basically what I'm saying is Cuba before the revolution is inarguably worse off than, sorry, after the revolution is inarguably worse off
I
than
know what you're saying.
before.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
evil of the things that they were doing in that country still led to a better outcome, even though I can't agree with it. I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
agree with it, but they're right in a
yeah.
way on
No,
how they
I
run
know.
things.
Well, I was having a conversation the other day with the girlfriend, and we were talking
Yeah.
about how like, oh, like these
The shark?
people, like these, yeah, the shark came along, swimming towards my inner thighs, and we started talking
Yeah, yeah,
about
your girlfriend. Yeah.
just like, well, we all these billionaires, like if you go out and you kill them, or all these politicians, if you
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
all that shit, then what? Then what?
Yeah,
Then you
yeah.
go like, now there's no law, there's no rule, there's no nothing. And you know how fucked a lot of people are gonna be if that's the case. So
Yep.
yeah, these systems that have been set up by these horrible, evil, like devil worshiping, let's say bankers and politics,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them, they set up a world where it's safer than
Yes.
a world in chaos and no order. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but at the same time,
Yes.
they're still doing some unforgivable, atrocious shit.
Yes. It's
But they're
complicated.
the ones. It's
Keeping
so
us safe and
incredibly because then
yeah.
you go like, who are we gonna do? Hand power off to some next asshole who is just going to probably become even more corrupt than all that?
So
Who knows? You can't just give it to a person. So what do we do?
that's the
But human beings, we need a leader.
we need a
But the
leader.
leader always ends up wanting to fuck your wife.
Yes. That's the problem is when you have an evil organization running a shadow group that's controlling your country,
Yeah.
everything's great, but the problem is the glass ceiling. Like you can't get past a certain point because that's where they want you and they want them up here. So
Yes,
you know,
yes.
so eventually that gets to you, and then some guy comes around or a group of people led by some guy, and they say, we're gonna have a revolution, and we're gonna fix this, and there's no longer gonna be a glass ceiling and everything, and you go, oh shit, okay, okay, and it happens, and people get killed, and the thing, and that guy who did all of that, he goes, oh, by the way, I'm I'm the top of the glass ceiling now, by the
I'm
way.
I'm
And
your king now. Yeah.
the
I'm your
amount of
dictator.
guys who did that and ended up being a good guy is like there's like 10 of them ever in history. The rest have all been pieces of shit.
Well, yeah, because if you overthrow a government, you and your crew that like got that done now have to set up, okay, well, here are the new rules.
Yeah.
Here's the new way of doing things. And it could be far worse than what they were doing before. Because all they were trying to do is get at power. They were just trying to be the ones in charge. But
Yeah.
once you're in charge, now you got to figure out a system of like, okay, how do I keep everything in line, everything in order? How do I, and you know what? It may seem exciting and better at first, but oftentimes it does just get worse.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, but that's how we're built, I guess. That's how human beings are. Like even in comedy, like the hierarchy of trying to get ahead of people sometimes. There could be some very dirty methods that people
Yeah.
would are willing to go through to try to just get on top. And on top doesn't last forever. So you might be on top for a few months,
Yeah.
and then you went around slitting throats just to be on top
Just to
for
be on top. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
I
funny way of being, I guess.
I that's why I've come to like a recent thought process. I'm not fully there, but I'm somewhat there where if people tell me the world is ending, and or it will, or it's gonna these people are gonna be in charge, and this is things are getting worse and everything. I've come to the realization that I'm now 36, and in a blink of an eye, I'm gonna be old and dying. So oddly enough, I'm like, who cares? If people tell me
Yeah,
what to do, I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna die eventually anyway. So let's
no,
just
I know what you
get to my
mean.
dying,
Like
and that'll be fine.
you're talking about a more dignified exit from life where
Yeah.
you're not running around screaming, panicking, pissing your ass.
Yes, that's it. You got
Yes,
it.
trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like, hey, look, get in the bunker. It's not gonna help you. Like we're all dead. So
yeah,
it's almost you want to just go about your day like it's just any other day. I'm
yeah,
gonna get with my girl, squeeze her ass a little harder, maybe fuck her a few more times, just
yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
my day,
That's
right
right.
before we get annihilated.
And here's the ultimate truth: is the self-centeredness of humans. I was even listening to this guy talking about like climate problems and like global warming, which I do now believe is a part of capitalism, that they're trying to sell us on certain to buy things, do certain things because other people who aren't the gas companies, like the petrol companies and stuff, who get money from fossil fuels. There's just
Mm,
another type of people that want to get money from new other types of resources, and they're just
yeah.
trying to replace. So it's all bullshit. It's I actually I'm gonna probably get hate from my own family this, but global warming bullshit. I don't believe in it. Um,
Like the pursuit of truth, like back
yeah,
in the day, like it might have been like the spiritual journey. Like you get rid of all your possessions, you don't bathe anymore, you wander, like you're seeking truth and knowledge
yeah,
that
yeah.
way. Now it would seem that the new pursuit of truth is to get as rich as possible so that you get closer and closer to what's actually going on.
That's
Like the
true.
new method of total enlightenment. That's like when you see these super billionaires, they're almost like weird hippies who like act like they're poor, but they're not.
Yeah.
Like
Well, so
those weirdo kind of like super
there's a reason
millionaire
behind
like
that. There's a reason behind
it's
that, and
because they've reached enlightenment. They found
well,
out that
that's what happens when you get
you could pay for it.
Nirvana. Nirvana is album sales. That's why they call
Yeah.
that band Nirvana. Yeah, yeah. No, my mom I talked to my mom about this because she, and this would be true about your parents, although they're immigrants, right? So, I'm sure in their own countries, their own things were happening, but uh, hippies hippies, of the vast majority of hippies from the 60s and 70s
Mhm.
are like bankers and executives and stock market people now.
Yeah.
They all gave it up. So why they still want to pose as this like, oh, I wear like beads on my wrist and all this kind of stuff. They're holding on to the last vestige of like, oh, we were the hippie generation, but they
Yeah.
sold out their ideals completely. They just want it because posers is the biggest, most common thing in this world. It's the
Yeah.
most, we're all posers in a sense,
Huge. Big time.
all of us. Now,
Yeah.
the
We
best
can't
people
help it.
are
It's that
minimally,
monkey see, monkey do shit,
yeah.
right? Like we mimic each other without even realizing it. I found myself, I think I told you once, walking like my dad in a grocery store. Like
Yeah,
he has like this sway
yeah.
about him.
Drunk.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, no, sorry.
Yeah,
He has a
he had a
machismo.
swagger about him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I remember when I kind of like, oh my God, I'm walking like him.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to physically stop myself and walk differently
Yeah.
because not like, oh, fuck my dad. I hate. It's just
No,
more
no,
like,
no.
oh, I'm just mimicking him without
Mimic it. Yeah.
even realizing it. So yeah, it's like, am I posing like my dad? Am I acting like we all do that? We all get our even how a lot of people talk. Like I grew up with. I told you I grew up with guys that were born in Canada, but because they mainly hung around their Spanish family and other Spanish friends and shit,
Yeah, yeah.
they almost talk like they have half an accent,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
they're from that
From
country,
there, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they just decided that's how I'm gonna sound,
That's
just
that's
like those,
that's a
yeah,
personality I want.
like that Toronto accent thing. It's just like there's no fucking way
No,
anybody naturally. That's a voice you choose to
you
now
choose. It's chosen.
to have. Yeah.
It's also
Oh, it's
so
most
recent that
poser shit.
it's completely nonsense. But even I was thinking about this the other day. Even the fact that we wear t-shirts with like something on it, like a Stone Cold. I know this is like way past its time, but like even at the time, you're wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt. All those
That's
guys,
timeless.
including myself, it's timeless, yeah. But we were posers because we wanted the world to believe when you wear that t-shirt. I don't care. People can argue with me, but I believe it. You want when you wear that t-shirt, someone to believe I'm somewhat like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah,
I am
like
a
off.
badass, and that's why I wear a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt. And if
Yeah.
I wear a Guns N' Roses shirt, I secretly want people to believe I like that band because I like to fuck women
You
and
want people
stuff,
to
and I'm a rock
associate
star.
you. You want to be associated with what you're rocking, basically.
That's right. And I'm a
Yeah.
poser because I'm a fucking like you're like an accountant in a firm somewhere, but on the
And you would
weekends you're wearing.
never ever you would never flip off your boss or
No,
drink two beers at the same
that's
time.
right. But Saturday comes and you put on your Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt and you tell people, "Oh, fuck my boss. He's a piece of shit
Yeah.
or whatever." Shut
And you
up.
stunner his wife at the company picnic.
She go, that Linda McMahon going limp stunner that she had.
Oh,
Um,
God bless Vince McMahon.
before I forget,
Even
because
though he's
we'll be,
also a piece of shit.
yeah, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're all at the top, they're piece of shit. But my point is at the bottom, if we were given the chance to be at the top, well, most of us would also be pieces of shit.
Yeah, it would seem that way,
Um,
honestly.
but I did want to address it because I really I thought you would enjoy this story. Is
Yeah.
recently I had texted you that I had a job interview and
Yes.
I went on it. It was like last Monday or something like that. And you're like, "Oh, how did it go?" I'm sure facetiously asking, not just thinking it would be funny. Did not go well. Uh, I've
Yeah. What?
this is my worst job interview yet, and it's because of one specific moment. Now, I would argue I was not going to get this job anyway because I would say my qualifications were just slightly lacking. Like I was like slightly below. The person asked me a couple of things like, "Have you done this before?" And my answer was always, if I'm to explain this, it's like somebody asked me, "Have you ever tried vodka before?" And I was going, "Well, I've tried gin, and that's like
That's
vodka, you know?
yeah. I mean, I still party.
I still
Yeah.
party, but
Yeah.
I've never had vodka before. No." And so whenever my answer was eventually like, "Well, no, but," it was a lot of no
The
buts. So
things that you needed to answer yes to were no
yeah,
buts.
were no
Yeah.
buts. That's right. So it was already, I didn't have a lot of confidence in how it was going to go, but I do apply as you do for usually uh, bilingual positions, right?
Yeah.
To speak French in them. And my French is not the best anymore because I barely speak it anymore. But at one point in my life, not that long ago, 100% fluent. Like I had good accent, everything because I went to French schools, everything. But I've recently had this thing where if I don't speak French for like 10 minutes straight, like my first 10 minutes is really bad and then my brain jogs because I'm old and then the rest I can go the rest of the day speaking French and talk with my mom and everything and it goes well. But she asked me a question to test my French and she's like, "Can you just answer this one in French?" And the question was, and it's a very obvious, "Tell me your three best qualities and one thing that you could improve on." And
Can I
I
hear it?
I I'm gonna do the
Yeah.
so people can hear it. I'm gonna do the
Yeah.
English version of my response.
Yeah.
I panicked immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, already the first problem is I blanked. I blanked on any three qualities I could say I had. I couldn't think of
And
a
I,
single
and I
good
love that
quality.
this is a question to expect.
Yes. Every other question she asked, and I think I
Yeah.
answered, even though I said the gin vodka thing, I think I was
Yeah.
pretty smart in trying to wiggle my way around. The most
Yeah.
obvious question that gets asked at every interview,
Yeah.
I go, "Oh shit, I didn't even think of that." So I couldn't think of three qualities. And but then
Shit.
also my French was out of practice. So I'm gonna do an impression of this is English, but this is how I was speaking in French. Is I'm going qualities. Yes, yes, qualities. I do have qualities, good qualities. I work hard. And I think my team would say I work hard. Uh, work hard, good. I
Oh.
work hard. Yes. And then I go, but also that is my thing I can improve is sometimes I work too hard and I forget I help other people with their hard work and forget to
Oh.
do my hard work that I work hard on. And
This is hurting my chest.
it's on Zoom. She's staring, she's like this, thinking this guy does not speak French.
No. What
And
the
two,
fuck? Yeah.
she calls me out and she goes, "Oh, okay. So what are the other two things?" And I go, "Oh, yes, sorry. And then I was like, I got blank because I couldn't think. I couldn't think of any other two things to say of
She thought
qualities.
the she thought the Zoom meeting froze.
Yeah. And you know how she
Oh
let me
fuck.
out of it? She goes like this.
Mm.
As I'm sitting there trying to think of two other qualities, she goes, "Oh, it's okay. That question is really just to test that you can speak French or not." And I go, "Oh, okay."
And you failed
And
it.
I failed. And then I got
Oh
shortly after I
shit.
got off the phone, and then I go and immediately in French in my brain, I'm going, well, I'm very intelligent, fast. I'm a fast worker, fast learner. I'm just thinking of things, even if they're not good. I'm thinking of them. But I shit the bed so
Yeah.
hard because I couldn't speak well. I was mumbling, which made her think I can't speak French, and I couldn't think of three good things to say about myself on a job
Yeah.
interview. Imagine on a
Yeah.
job interview, someone is gonna pay you to work for the company, and they ask, say three good things about yourself, and you say one, and then can't think of two other things.
Well, I'm that's like you know what would have worked better in your favor if she just said, "Okay, for this next part of the interview, we're just going to talk in French together."
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes, I would have been
As
fine.
opposed to the so tell me what are the best things about you? Three things, in French, go. That's when you go like, go. Yeah, because I think it's like
Yeah,
you don't know where to start,
no, no,
you
but
know?
it's dumb because you should prepare that. But I think what
No, but
threw
I
me,
understand you, the
it's
blanking
the blank. Yeah,
of
yeah, it
it,
was
yeah,
to be to
it's
be honest,
embarrassing.
the truth, it was so embarrassing. It was like you could
Uh,
I should have taken a print screen. I mean, this would be invasion of her like privacy, but I should have taken a print screen so you could see her face while I was talking because she was blank, thinking, I can't wait for this interview to be over because this is so clearly not the person we're hiring.
You shocked her. That
I
wide-eyed
she
stare,
was
like she's kind of like, "Are you serious? Like, am I really with one of those people that fakes qualifications?" And now
you know what
I'm
she looked
interviewing
like?
one.
She looked like, you remember when this is a very old reference, but you remember when Mike Myers and Kanye West were on TV together for Katrina, and
Mike
Kanye said
Myers.
that George Bush doesn't care about black people, and then you see Mike
Yeah.
Myers going and like deer in the headlights, like
Yes.
that's what she looked like. It was and you know the worst part is, I wish I could have just clicked end there, like while I'm blanking, but it's like she oh, I forgot about this. That was pretty much the end of the interview. I think she asked me one more question after that.
Wait a second. You got caught off guard with her question, and she got caught off guard with your stupidity.
Yes. So
Oh
the
wow.
worst part I just remembered is I think when it comes to the interviews, these like recruiters and stuff, they have like a script in terms of doesn't
What they
force them
ask.
exactly what to say, but bases to cover. And after we went through that horrible, horrible question and answer, she still felt the need to go through. Oh, so after this interview, the next steps is, if approved for another interview, will be thing. She's like, what salary are you hoping for? And I gave her my salary, and she's like, okay, that's within our range. And we had a discussion about salary. And while we're talking about salary, I wanted to go, bitch, why are you asking about salary? You know you're not calling me back. Don't
Yeah.
embarrass me by asking about any more questions.
The only way you could have salvaged that is that everything after you answered in French. If you just answered everything in
Yes.
French after that, you'd have been like,
Yes.
listen, like je veux juste vous montrer que all of it, I
Yeah.
blacked
Yeah.
out, but this is how I could actually talk. But whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the funny thing is for people who's listening to understand is I know in my own heart my French is much worse than it was when I was like maybe 10 years ago or something like that. But I
Yeah.
still 100% I'm fluent. And because I've been working with this other recruiter guy who's like trying to find me a job, he's specifically a French recruiter and he tested my French and deemed me like, no, yeah, you can take any French job. But you were right. When he tested my French, he said, let's just talk in French for the next like 10 minutes. And we just
Yeah.
talked about bullshit,
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
whatever and thing. But it was just because the question made me nervous, I started stumbling and, ooh, I'm at least going to be unemployed for another month at least. Because that's not going anywhere.
I'll tell you, it's French is a hard one to hold on to. Like if
Yeah.
I hadn't had jobs after high
Yeah.
school, like French, I would have lost it by now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Me too.
absolutely would have lost it by now. But the fact that I just kept getting hired by these fucking companies, it's just like,
Yeah.
I
It
ended up having to
maintains
keep
it.
it. And now because of how shit is, like it's how hard it is to get a job in Canada. And I was thinking like how much I fucking hated just knowing French. And I'm like, oh, like I think it's limited me to getting a job or like what I probably could have done, all this shit. Because I
Yeah.
feel like the French, if I went to an English school, I'm sure I would have like developed an interest in something specific. You know what I mean? Like, but because everything was in French, it wasn't interesting to me. I just looked at every t subject as French. So I was never interested in anything. So I
I
go, but now I'm thankful for it because it would probably be pretty difficult right now to
to
be
find it.
to
Yeah,
get a
yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah. I've
So I'm like,
I
I'm pretty
actually, you know
thankful
what's
now.
funny? I actually understand that, even though I don't agree. But it's for
Yeah,
me, it's because technically it's the language of my people. So it was
yeah,
always sold as that like you're half, but you're French Canadian. So it's not only that French is good for your career later. This is the language of your people. You should know this language, right?
sure.
So it was like there was no question. It's just like the kids who go to like Hebrew school or the kids or Spanish kids who like learn because their mom and fucking people speak it. It's only Italians who go, fuck it. I'm never gonna learn
Yeah,
my,
yeah.
you know. But I actually understand where you're coming from because yeah, you're taking everything in French, you're forced down that way. I don't think you would have been a geneticist or anything like that. So I hope that's not what you're thinking. But
I think I probably would have gotten more into sports, but gym class was even in French, and I hate it.
you heard pass la balle and you're like, oh fuck that.
Oh,
I'm
fuck
not
this.
no.
La balle, the ballon.
Le ballon.
Fuck that.
um
Oh well.
yeah,
Yeah,
the only thing to be continued for next time, and we'll just give a taste of it, whatever. Ian, I hope Ian comes by Thursday when we record because I do want to talk about John Bones Jones retiring
sure.
because I just want to note to people so they can look it up before our next podcast. This is really funny. I think this is really funny because the media is just funny in their bullshit.
Mhm.
He's retiring, right? And if you go on YouTube right now, the vast majority of the discussion is he really was just he didn't want to fight this one guy, and Tom Aspinall is the guy or whatever. Ian knows about all this stuff or whatever. He didn't want to fight this guy. He should have retired when he won his last fight and just said this was an end. He wasted people's time. Really, we think he was just afraid of him. All this kind of stuff, right?
Wow.
That's part of it. The truth
Okay.
is, and it's going to come out more and more in the news now, is that he retired days after an article came out in the city he lives in, which is like one of those weird. He doesn't live in like New York or LA. It's like one of those. I can't remember where, but he lives somewhere else. He got another DUI. He was found drunk and on shrooms with a half naked girl in his car next to him, also drunk and in on shrooms. And he was threatening to beat up cops when they were arresting him. Like, it was like he uttered threats. There's text messages, apparently, I think, with him and the girl, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like, it's a bad news day
Scene.
that's coming for him. And
Wow.
other people
What a
are
legend.
like, he's, it's his third DUI.
And not just like
In
on
10 years.
shrooms, on psychedelics.
On psychedelics and booze, and he had his third DUI. So like other people are like, no, look, he because his retirement is like, and this is what I want to talk to Ian about, but his retirement is almost out of nowhere because they were like planning for him to eventually get to this other fight. He was kind of ducking it, but it was still like the obvious next big fight in the UFC is this fight. And he calls Dana White like whatever it was last night or the night before or whatever, and he told him, I'm retiring. And Dana White had to just announce it at the next like thing he was at, which Dana White was at some shit event in Azerbaijan. It's like some other like weird European country, and he went to his conference on one of their weird we're in a different country runs, and he's like, oh, by the way, our biggest heavyweight is retiring right now.
Dude.
And this is why this is my last discussion, whatever, we can end in 5 seconds or whatever, but it was just I've started to hate YouTube because even YouTube, you can tell YouTube channels and stuff, I truly believe they're contacted, or even if they're not contacted, they're afraid to mention something that could get them in trouble. So
it fucks with
they
their
don't
money.
talk about so much stuff that if you just go to Reddit, you know everybody's talking about it. And I know Reddit is like whatever, but still.
I just want to say this.
Yeah.
It must have been such a shit day for the cop or whatever who showed up to the scene and then realized he had to fight a drugged up John Jones.
It's John Jones telling you, get away from me, dragon. You don't think I can beat up a dragon? I can beat up a dragon. The cop's like, oh God. Oh,
he thought it was a six-headed Brock Lesnar. Just blowing fire at him. Well, good for John Jones, though.
Yeah. Well, you got to end on top, and ending with a DWI is the height of heights of being a true star and celebrity.
Yeah, that's how you close the door on your career.
That's right.
I agree.
I hope this podcast ends with both of us getting DUIs.
I'd have to get a driver's license first. I'll join you.
True. We're playing the long game. We got to get you a driver's license just so you can lose it.
Exactly. I agree. That's what we have coming up for a future episode.
Yes, we're gonna have Ian on to discuss the John Bones Jones. He also he has a game for us to play. So I forget what it is, but he has a game for us to play. I'm sure it's fun. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that later. I'll text you. You need to bring a guest, but a very specific guest. And so you have to book that guest.
Okay. Let me know.
All right, thanks for listening.
All right. Ciao.